Hi guys, this is Diana. Welcome to Creativity Incorporated. Um, I wanted to share. I was so excited to share these postcards with you guys, but my dog got to them. I was so bummed. But anyways, I got it. I got some old letters and some old postcards. I got these Star Wars ones. I don't know how old they are. They seem pretty old, but we'll see. I would like to make a Star Wars journal at one point. I had this old speller book and some other cards. But I was mostly excited about this folder that has like these colors, and I'm so impressed by these colors, and I was so excited about them. I got this. I think what was this? Constitution or no. I'm sorry, Declaration of Independence. Um, I will do one of those one day. I want to make a patriotic journal just because I love my America. Anyway, so for today's project, I will be using purely junk, purely trash that I have stored and hoarded away. Um, my goal was to make it out of cardboard, but I remembered I had these size of like little coasters, like wooden coasters. You guys have seen me using these in a journal before, but so I made my template pretty much on a smaller scale, but because I had these templates already, I decided to use those, and I just centered my template and traced it on there. Now, um, all the parts that I've used on my journal, I mean not journal, oh my gosh, on this washi tape dispenser, I um I feel like there's so many other like alternatives to it. For example, these sides of the washi tape dispensers that I'm tracing here, they could like covers of books or encyclopedia, those very hard or thick cardboards could be used. I feel like for the slats, for the long pieces, you can use rulers, also book, because it could be smaller, so you could also use book covers. I think it would actually look really nice. I envisioned that. I at first When I first thought of this tape dispenser, I thought about that. But then I remember I had these slats. I have a lot of them. My husband makes these frames, and he cuts these off. So I have a bunch of these. And once I had my template on the wood, I have this little saw. I got it at the 99-cent store. So this is very accessible to you guys. And I just sat there and, you know, watching TV, and I was cutting my life away. What I first did to ensure that I cut right onto the template, went ahead and scored it with my knife so that I had a kind of like a guide to it. I don't know if it helps much, but I feel like at least helps me visualize and guides me to where I'm going. After sanding and filing down the edges, so that I can ensure that both shapes are exactly the same. They were not exactly the same, but the file kind of helped it be kind of very similar to where it looks very close when they're together. Well, not together, but in the same project. So there's this part where I couldn't go in with my knife, so I'm deciding to do a combination of drilling and kind of like going into it with the knife. Okay, so all these wooden strips are the same size. Well, around, roughly around. And so what I did is I sanded all the sides, especially the sides that are gonna be glued to each other. So what I'm doing here is if I ideally you want to have a press or like a clamp that presses all of them together so that it equally puts pressure all throughout your project and it glues correctly. But I didn't have that, so after I place the glue in between each, now um, I'm putting glue one by one here, but ideally you want to lay all your pieces on one side and then put the glue and then glue them all together. I was just trying to be careful, but at the end, you guys will see me do that shortcut. But at the end, in reality, you want to just grab them all, put them on one side, and make sure that then you lay them down and do it. I guess what I was trying to do is be clean because I am going to stain this wood afterwards, and I didn't want to be messy about it. So I was trying to be careful, but shortcut. There is a shortcut. That's all I'm trying to say. But because I don't have a clamp or I don't have a press or any other way, I will be clamping all my wood together with tape. Now you want to just put pressure. So I use this very thick tape that, like painter's tape, that allows me to pull without ripping. Or you can use, see, I could say you can use like duct tape, but I feel like duct tape sometimes leaves a residue, and you don't want to do that if at the end you want to like stain your project. And because I had the staining in mind, I didn't want to leave any residue, so I went ahead and used painter's tape, which worked out great. I use this handheld cutting blade, saw blade, that as this a guide as to how long my washi tape dispenser is going to be. The panel, so the length. So um, what I did is I have camera, I have a table saw, so I took this project to my table saw. It was easier and it was cleaner for me to do. Um, but like I said, you guys can use the saw, or you guys can use, if you guys want to sit there and do it with the blade, it's very accessible to do. It's just, I have a lot of responsibility. I have work and I have kids and stuff, and so husband and everything. So I just for time purposes, and because I have access to a table, so I did it. But it is very doable with any other cutting utensil out there. So anyway, so I used my blade as a guide to the length, right? And then what I'm doing here is I took off the tape. I cut it with the tape on, so I wouldn't have so much wood splitting. Um, After I took it off, I sanded it again so I don't have any wood residue. And painter's tape doesn't really leave a residue, but just to ensure I did it. I'm going to use napkins to apply my stain. Now this is a gel stain, so it's not runny, and it doesn't really smell that I can, because I've used stain pretty much since I recall, and this one doesn't smell. So if you guys can get your hands on this stain, it would be great. It doesn't run, it doesn't get all over the place. It was perfect just to kind of wipe it on with a napkin. Anyways, on the sides, after I glued the leather on there, and by the way, I meant to mention it earlier, but I'm using for all kinds of glue, or the gluing parts, I'm using wood glue. So the yellow one, the yellow kind, I don't know the brand. um, my husband and I usually put our glues in other dispensers just to make it easier for us to pour, so I don't remember the brand, but most likely we got it at Home Depot or something like that. But I like it because it's really good to glue leather as well. So I like it for leather as well. Anyways, so once this my now remember I this panel is stained on one side. So once everything's put together, I'm going to stain it a second time. It's just for the time purpose and drying purposes. Um, I stained one side for meanwhile, and then after the whole thing dries, I'm going to stain the whole thing again. But I didn't put stain inside because I'm going to use glue, and because stain is a sort of a repellent. You don't want to have any kind of stain on the parts you're going to glue. So to ensure that I'm going to get a good adhesiveness or adhesion, I didn't put stain on this side. Anyways, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I painted the inside of the wood black and the outside I did it. Well, of course, the leather. But what I did is one side, because of the blade and because of the drilling, was a little chipped off and stuff like that. So I decided to use that side to put the leather on. Now, what I did here is I just glued my sides, and then I put my top, and I put something heavy on it, and it works great. It works wonder. And like I said, once this is all done, I'm going to restain it a second time. Okay, these sticks are we're gonna be is what's gonna be holding the washi tape. Now, in order for them to hang on there, I used little nails, The first two nails that I put on there, they were just easily small, and I just hammered them on there. But if you feel like your wood could split, or your nail is thicker than what I used, which in this case, in the second little panel that I'm going to use, the nail is a lot thicker. So I feel like it could potentially split the wood, not sure, but I just wanted to ensure that it didn't. So I just went ahead and pre-drill my hole so that I can put my nail in there. Now, originally, my whole sketch and my whole design was for screwdrivers, because my whole goal was to first use the tube where the aluminum or the plastic saran wrap comes in, and I was just gonna seal the ends and use screws on the end. But I didn't do that, and I went ahead and I used the same little wooden slats here, and I went ahead and I used my little nails. So I didn't prepare with nails, and I just used whatever random ones I had. So they're all different sizes. So you saw me drilling for some and not drilling for others, because all my nails were different sizes, pretty much. So I'm pre-drilling because I don't want my wood to split right where I'm attaching my blade. And so just a little bit. You don't have to do a lot. Plus, my little um, screws are small. Now, when I designed the outline of the signs, I accounted for the thickness of this blade, and also the head size. So when I flop my washi tape dispenser, I have already accounted for the height, for this height of the screw, so it will not be wonky or offset. So my design of this, or if you want to do something like this, I mean, my patrons will have access to download this template. But if you want to make your own template, make sure you account for things like that, like the size of the screw that you potentially one side is going to sit on and the other side is not. So you don't want it to be wonky, and make sure you account to it. Now, on the other side, I didn't have another blade, which I could run to the store and buy. But the whole point was to make it out of junk, right? Out of recycled materials. So I'm going to use the blade that the aluminum comes in, like the little strip that comes in the aluminum box. And I'm using even smaller screws on this one. But because it's a little thinner and it was warping in the middle, I'm also going to put a screw in the middle. And you're cutting the washi, it won't really account for it. Now I hammered the piece, I mean the aluminum like strip, but I wish I would have taken a little bit longer and screwed a little bit more, because at the end it comes a little wonky. So if you want to go, account for that wonkiness, make sure that you hammered it in. It won't affect the cutting blade or the cutting teeth on the opposite ends, but just make sure that it's flat so that you don't have a wonky, loopy thing blade. I mean, it would still cut and you won't really see it, but if it's gonna sit in your desk like mine, it tends to be, you want it to look very clean and smooth. So like I mentioned before, my plan and the whole design thing was um, based on the fact that I was going to use screw to hold onto my pipes that holds the washi. And because of it, I designed a hole in the middle of where the tube is going to sit, the tube ends is going to sit. But because I decided to use nails, it was sliding off. So I made this stick that was kind of like, interceding on both ends, and I just made straps of leather to strap it on. Now, the wood is not attached to the leather, but the leather the little stick, you can slide it in and out when you're ready to change your washi tape. Now, I wanted to have like a label, or like my name. I think I'm gonna put Creativity Inc. on it, incorporated, but like a little plaque. So I'm in the process of making my own little plaques, molds, and but since I don't have it yet, I have this old piece of, I don't know, it's a scrap piece of cardboard that I decided to make a little frame around there, like a 3D puff, so it looks like a 3D piece. And I painted it black with black chalkboard paint, and then I just put a little gold on the trim and a little bit of paste all around so that it gives me that, maybe old plaque, plaque, plaque feel to it. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys like this. I hope you guys get to make your own. It's really cool because I really want to use my washi tapes. I have these and many more, but if you have it accessible, I think that you will be more leaning to using it. So because I do want to use them, or I want to have them accessible, not just in a drawer in a box. And so I wanted to make this little display. And in reality, if you want to make more, you can just stack another one on top of this one and have, like, quadruple the amount of washi tapes you can display. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, guys. Love, love, love you guys so much. Bye.